And I'm Connor.
And this is the 2025 Kia EV9 in the GT-Line trim with the Panthera Metal exterior paint color. It's our first time filming this exterior paint, and I am so excited because I think it looks phenomenal, and I think especially on this specific trim level, it's just the perfect color. But more on that later. In today's video, it's a live stream car review, which means we're talking about everything there is to know about this specific vehicle in real time. So that means we can make major mistakes. We can fall down, we can really mess up, but it's going to be fun, and we're going to give you all the information you need to know, because if there's one thing we know, it's Kia and Hyundai, right?
Yep.
So I guess what are we going to cover today, Connor?
Well, we're going to cover this beautiful EV9.
And powertrain.
Powertrain.
Interior.
Interior, warranties, anything like that.
Yes.
Any questions you have, ask them.
And shall we get right into it?
Let's get right into it.
Let's do it. Okay, so for the specific trim level, it is the highest you can get here in Canada. It's a $14,000 add-on from the trim level below, not the trim level below it, but from the all-wheel drive model of the EV9, and it's priced at $78,995 Canadian. And I know that sounds very pricey, because it is. But let me tell you, this is by far one of our most impressive vehicles Kia has ever had, and watch this video to see why. We'll start off with the front end. So this vehicle has what we call a digital lighting grille. So the lighting of the daytime running lights actually extend into the grille itself. When the vehicle is turned off, you don't see them at all. It's completely hidden, and it's very stealthy. You can also change the pattern in which it's displayed, and it does have a very nice sequence on startup. So it's pretty fun to look at, and also just adds to the overall experience of owning this car. For the headlamps, you get a vertically cubic stacked LED headlamp, and this beautiful almost L-shaped daytime running light, which again is also an LED. You get a nice flat face for your front grille, because of course this is an EV, it's an all-electric 3-row SUV at that. This specific model is going to give you 6 seats, but you can also get this vehicle with a 7-seater configuration. Down here we have our active air grille shutters. So right now they're closed, but as you move your vehicle, and of course based off the weather and state of your vehicle, it'll open and close them to provide cooling to your battery. You also have front parking sensors and a forward-facing camera to give you a full 360 camera view and audible feedback whenever you approach something a little too closely. So parking such a big vehicle like this is a breeze with this vehicle. It can even park itself into spots, so as long as there is obviously paint markings, the vehicle can back itself in, parallel park, and reverse park as well too. You can control it from the remote or from inside the car. You can also move this vehicle forwards and backwards. I'll show it later from the remote itself, which makes getting out of tight parking spots very easy. Below that, you may think this is just a styling element, but it's actually a forward radar plate. This vehicle is packed with a ton of tech and safety functions. One of my favorites is the Highway Drive Assist Level 2, meaning this car will maintain its speed, slow down if you hit stop and go traffic, and even do its own lane changes. So it's a semi-autonomous drive mode, and is absolutely smooth on this car and a lot of fun to use. We're going to pop the hood, not that there's an engine under there, but I will give you the powertrain specs just because it feels natural. All right, so under the hood of this vehicle, or better I say powering it, we have a 99.8 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion polymer battery. Now this is the largest battery we have on any of our Kia EVs yet, and that's because, well, it's our largest Kia EV yet. You get a ton of range on this specific trim. We have 435 kilometers of all-electric range, and that's actually the lowest we get in the all-wheel drive variant of the EV9, but that's due to all the tech and equipment that comes on the trim. There is a small frunk. It is smaller because this is the dual motor all-wheel drive variant. If you get just the single rear-wheel drive, you'll have a lot more usable space here. It's 2-leveled, or I guess 2-tiered, so you actually have a little bit of lower storage as well too, and a vehicle-to-load adapter, allowing you to plug things into your car and power accessories. If you're someone who likes camping, you'll love this. It doesn't drain a lot of battery. You can plug in a TV, inflator kit, anything really. There's a lot you can do with it. We've actually powered a hair salon with ours. If you want to check out that video, I'll eventually link it once this is posted. Now, for power, we have a lot on this specific vehicle. So 379 horsepower with 516 pound-feet of torque. And you may be thinking, on a family 3-row all-electric SUV, why do I need so much torque? And you don't need it, but it's nice to have. This vehicle handles its speed very well, and despite its heavy weight, it is such a smooth and pleasurable drive. We have done a test drive video on it, and we've actually taken this vehicle through some more strenuous driving as well too. So a slalom, we did a chicane as well too. It's a lot of fun to drive, and you wouldn't believe it because it's a rectangle on wheels, right? This car actually has the same drag coefficient as a C8 Corvette, and you would never believe that because look how sporty and sleek the Corvette looks. This is a rectangle, like I said earlier. But hey, The research and design that went into it made it as efficient as possible, so it handles very well and it's efficiently doing so. Speaking of efficiency, we got massive wheels. Those and efficiency don't always go hand in hand, but let's talk about this. So this is a 21-inch alloy. It's completely blacked out on the GT-Line package, and you're also going to get these aerodynamic wheel covers. So actually in our very center cap, you can pop that off and actually have access to the wheel itself. I think it looks very good, and obviously they look very different than your conventional wheel like we see on the Seltos over here because it has efficiency in mind. You want to reduce the amount of air resistance and, of course, channel airflow through the car. So that's why we have wheels like this. On the GT-Line, you're going to get a lot of dark accents, so surrounding your wheel wells, and like we saw on the front grille as well, everything's kind of blacked out. I think it stands out very nicely on this exterior paint. And back to the paint in general. Guys, if you love the look of a blacked out vehicle but hate the tedious detailing that goes into keeping a black paint clean, this might be the color for you. At nighttime or low light situations, it looks like it's completely blacked out, but in the sunlight, there's beautiful shine. I'll actually have Connor flash on there so you can see the sparkle that this paint comes with. It's honestly stunning. It is so beautiful.
You can kind of see it's got a bunch of pearl in it.
Yeah, so it's very
great.
pearly paint. I like it a lot. For our mirrors, there's a little bit of black finish, so a gloss black with the turn signal indicator, and then we have our lower camera. So these cameras are going to show up on both your left and right mirror, and that's going to show you what's in your blind spot as you indicate your turn signal. On top of that, it's also going to be another camera that pieces together your full 360 view, so you're getting complete live and accurate footage of everything happening around your car. Absolutely fantastic if you are parking this vehicle in a garage, like I mentioned earlier, but also parallel parking and driving through the city, things like cyclists and even just curbs around you. It'll show you everything in its high definition. Better quality than how we film our live streams. That's not saying much, actually. Now, for our door handles, they do pop out. They are pretty robust, too. So driving this vehicle in the winter, we had no issues with any snow or ice. The vehicle was strong enough to pop through that. And it is proximity-based, so as I walk up to my car, they will come out, making it very easy. I don't know if you guys have ever brought a friend to an EV before, like Teslas and whatnot, and they kind of struggle with how to open the door. This one's pretty straight up. You just grab the handle and go. So nice to see that there. On the GT-Line, you get these exclusive roof rails. I was about to say roof racks. So they are raised as opposed to the flush finish we see on the other trim levels. And you get some nice glossy black C-pillars as well, too, or pillars, I should say. Along the bottom, it's again hard to tell because of how dark the Panthera Metal is, but there's a lot more gloss black accenting around the body, which really breaks it up. If you're getting a lighter exterior paint like our white, it definitely stands out a lot more and just ties everything on the body a bit better. GT-Line is meant to look a little bit more sporty and sleek, and I think those exterior elements definitely do that job. On the side, you do get parking sensors. So it's on the front and the rear. You'll see it along your panels. And that's going to aid with, again, parking your vehicle, but also for safety. If it senses a pedestrian walk by and I fail to brake as a driver, my vehicle will emergency brake both forwards and reverse to avoid any sort of collision. That's not just going to be for driving, it's low-speed situations as well, too, which is very handy. The charge door is on the passenger right side. So let's open that up and take a look. So we're still utilizing CCS, which is what we've been working with for a while. Now this, of course, is going to allow you for AC and DC fast charging. This vehicle is based on our eGMP platform, which essentially means you can do 400 to 800 volt charging. That can take this car from 10 to 80% in 24 minutes, which is extremely quick. On a 350 kilowatt charger, there's the catch. Now, if you're working with something like a 50 kilowatt charger, which is far more likely to be what you run into here in Canada, you're about 83 minutes, I believe, from 10 to 80%, which is still much, much better. Now, you're always going to get faster charging in your lower state of charge, and then as you get closer to 80%, it'll sort of taper off. So in your low state, you can expect charging to be very quickly. Now, for AC charging, that's going to be your slower situation. That's what you'll do at home or with the level 1 that comes with this vehicle. Again, it's complementary to the charging cable, not the quickest, but we'll talk about that later if there's any questions about it. The charging is quite impressive on this vehicle, and we're hoping very, very shortly we'll have access to the Tesla charging network. Okay. Along the back of the car, we have beautiful LED taillights, very distinct design. I think it looks phenomenal. And the back end of this vehicle, it's just beautiful. It's not boring, it's not completely flush. It doesn't look like a traditional EV where they all just kind of look the same. This vehicle, it's got a lot going on in the style department. More black elements along the bottom with a nice dark satin along your lower skid plate area. We also have rear parking sensors and then our backup camera. You're going to want your backup camera to be rear facing, that's for sure. All right, up here, there's an additional camera I just want to quickly point out. This is going to be for your rear view mirror. Believe it or not, your rear view mirror also has a camera. High mounted stop lamp and a hidden rear wiper. I feel like rear wipers are something we should always talk about since the whole EV6 fiasco when that vehicle came to Canada with no rear wiper, but let's keep talking. Back here, we have a very good amount of cargo room behind our third row seats, I should say. Now your third row is power folding on the GT-Line trim, which means, Connor, if you want to show the right side of the cargo area, we actually have buttons to knock them down. Let me do that. Now they're not exactly fast, but it's completely powered. You can do it from back here, or you can do it from the driver's screen up front. So lots of ways to configure your vehicle. That way, if anyone else is loading stuff in, you can just have everything ready. You can also do it for the second row seats, but I'm going to leave them up for now because there's a lot more to talk once we hop in the car. On the left side, we have another button for a power lift gate, in case you're ever locked in and you need to open the lift. A 12 volt, and then on the right side we have a household outlet, so your interior vehicle to load port, allowing you to plug in any sort of household items into your car itself. Now that's going to draw off the high traction battery, so this vehicle is great, especially let's say drive-ins, camping. You don't actually have to run a gas engine or anything to power devices, where in a gas car you'd have to leave your vehicle in accessory mode, and eventually that could drain your 12 volt. This vehicle is going to use its high traction battery. It's not going to drain the 12 volt and you'll be okay. I went camping in our EV9, spent the whole night sleeping in the car so I didn't have to take down a tent or anything. I had my AC on because it was the summer and I lost barely any range. So I was very impressed with that. All right, let's come over to the side. We'll just get another quick pan of the vehicle. Again, beautiful body lines, such an incredible looking vehicle, great horsepower, great torque, and great efficiency. But let's talk comfort. Before I hop in, I'll have Connor show the door panel. So there's a lot of buttons. We've moved a lot of our comfort features to the door itself rather than having them in the center console area. So things like your heated steering wheel and heated seats are going to be showcased here. But we don't just get a heated steering wheel and heated seats. Come see what else we got. We also have a massaging driver's seat, ventilation for the driver's seat, and then of course memory seats as well too. So everything is just in this area here, making it easy to find, easy to use. You have your traditional things like window controls and of course your mirror controls. They are power folding, so when you lock your vehicle, you'll see your mirrors tuck in, and you can tuck them in on command too. Your sound system is going to be a 14-speaker Meridian premium sound, and the door itself is going to have a nice mix of materials, and they're going to be soft touch, so a very premium feel. There's a little bit of this fabric here, and then a nice synthetic leatherette. Very nice. The door handles are very slim, but very easy to use. No buttons, none of that weird stuff. It's classic. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and the EV9 is proof of that. Before I hop in the seat, I'll have Connor show some of the controls because there are so many buttons, and I'll probably just point them out over here. So this is going to put my seat in a reclined, almost reclined relaxation seat stance. So now that I'm pressing and holding it, you can see my footrest is coming up, and the back of the seat has reclined. This is great if you're charging your car and you just want to get a nap done or get some work done. It's nice and comfy. Turn on the heated seat, the massage seat too. Perfect. Guys, I'm not leaving this car. Below that, you have access to the actual leg extender itself. So if you just want to customize it for your daily drive, you can maneuver it however you like. Bottom of the seat, which also tilts. Look at that. There's actually so much you could do with the seat. Backrest, bolstering. That's right, bolstering. And then four-way lumbar support. So seriously, there's a lot you can do with the seat. It's actually almost a little too much. You never know how you really love your seat, but let's hop in. Okay, I'm gonna move this back just a little bit so we can get a better look at legroom when I hop in the second row. And here are some of your quick controls. So this panel over here is gonna have your basic things like your charge door, your brightness, your trunk release, and then your cargo area. You also have an electronic parking brake. The steering wheel is laid out in a perfect way. We have all of our driver assistance on the left side and all of our immediate controls on the right. Have you ever driven a car where some stuff is on this side and then you also have a button over here, over there, and it's all just a cluster? This vehicle separates things. It looks so good and it's easier to use. I'm gonna take the camera from you, Connor, just to quickly show what I'm talking about. And if you wanna join me on the passenger side. Okay, so over here, if you're driving your vehicle and you wanna put it into cruise control, you got your button over here, you got your speed, you got your following distance. None of the one thing over here, one thing over there. You also have access to your gauge cluster right up here. So by pressing this button, I can cycle between what's displayed in front of me. So if I want to see my navigation, my drive, my trip computer. And then also things I can just cycle through more. So there's just a bunch of different options. We also have our steering assistance right over here, so the vehicle can actually steer itself and make sure it's always centered in its lane and take curves upcoming ahead of you. And then on the right side, we have things like our voice commands, our volume, our phone, and of course a favorite button if you want quick access to something else. It might be hard to tell, but this steering wheel is actually illuminated, so at nighttime it definitely stands out a bit more, which is a nice fun touch. Now for the gauge cluster itself, there is quite a bit going on. We have our speedometer over there, quick access to our speed limit, and then whatever I want to display in the very center. My current range is shown on the bottom left, and then our state of charge is on the right side, as well as the level 1 is going to be my regenerative braking. Up above, just going to zoom in a bit, we have our heads-up display. Now heads-up display starts and only exists on the GT-Line trim level. People are saying charge the poor car. So I have a quick view of everything that's relevant for my current drive. If I had a route set in my navigation, it'll actually show me my turn-by-turn over there to make sure I never miss a turn. The nav itself, it's it's equipped in this vehicle, so you don't have to pay extra for it, and it's actually quite good. It's EV specific, so it's going to show you chargers. If you have a long route set, so a long road trip, it'll show you charging along the way too, whether it's closer to your destination or at the start, or if you just need to charge on the way. And it's just very intuitive, I would say. So let's take a look at our map real quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I do have a split screen. I'm just going to put that away. Wherever I search, I can search for the EV charging station, search for my actual destination, and then find things along the way, and the vehicle will suggest them and tell me what kind of charger it is and what the company is. So if it's an AC charger, how much output is coming out of that charger, that kind of thing. So it's very smart. If you prefer to use things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, this vehicle is where it's at because we now have wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. Tesla cannot do that right now. So bonus is there, and then of course if you use any sort of EV specific apps like the IV app, that of course will translate to your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and it'll all be up on your screen nice seamlessly with no wires. You do have physical buttons as well too, so again, something that's quite rare for an EV. It may not look like buttons, but you press it into the dash and it takes you to whatever you pressed. There's also dials, so another, wow, unheard of on an electric vehicle, for your volume controls, and then toggles for the actual air conditioning and heating. There's also a separate screen that's dedicated to your HVAC controls. Now this is kind of out of the way of the driver's line of view because of the steering wheel, but if I were to press the plus button, it'll take me right to our climate control menu on the big screen. Press X again, and it'll take me to wherever I left off. So I liked how they made it very user-friendly in that sense. The EV menu is where you'll find all of your EV relevant information, so things like your state of charge, your closest charger, which is a Mazda dealership, but we're not going to go there, are we? And then also what our current usage is. So right now, obviously we're not driving the vehicle, 0% of the battery drain is going towards driving. It's all electronics because that's what we're playing with. So it's a great way to get to know your vehicle a bit better, especially if this is your first EV. Again, this video is going to seem like there's a lot going on because there really is. This vehicle is by far our most impressive car, and kind of worried about what we should talk about. There's so much here.
I mean, to be honest, I was going to move on to this beautiful interior next.
Yeah, ambient lighting.
Yeah, the steering wheel design alone, I'm loving these buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is great.
I will say it is so nice to have actual physical controls on an electric vehicle. It seems like the more techy things are, a lot of people associate EV vehicles with being very confusing and very techy. It's already hard enough to get the grasp of how the EV network is and how they drive. Why do we have to make the interior so difficult to use? Why do I have to go through 3 different menus to change my regenerative braking? That is not the case on this car. It may seem like there's a lot going on, but it's still fairly simple if you think about it. Speaking of regenerative braking, this vehicle probably has the best regen braking system I've ever driven with. So you have paddle shifters on your steering wheel. The right one is going to be to decrease the amount of regen, the left one is going to increase it, and there's even an auto hold function, so that's essentially going to be your max regen. As soon as I let off the accelerator, my car is going to come to a stop. So essentially one pedal driving, right? This is going to prioritize obviously using the kinetic energy or the regen that of course will slowly charge back into your vehicle, and it's going to utilize your mechanical brakes a lot less, allowing you to extend how long you need before brake service. But don't forget to use your road brakes every once in a while. In the very center, you have a nice open layout, so you got your cup holders over here, and then a couple quick controls for your sensors, your camera, and auto hold braking. There's also a wireless phone charger and some center storage. Only a little bit of center storage because the real star of the show is actually in the back, And we also have a completely flat floor. So that means that underneath our floating center console, there's actually a lot of open room for things like bags or water bottles, any sort of thing that you couldn't fit in this main area here. Now we'll take a look at the back, but before we do that, actually, let's take a look at the sunroof. There's just a single sunroof here, and then a nice wide panel roof at the back. The panel roof in the back doesn't actually open, it's just a cover, but you do get the beautiful, I guess, just light coming up from the glass pane that really opens everything up in the cabin back there, because if you can tell, we do have a black headliner. It makes things a little dark in here, so touches like that and the white contrast on the seats really make things a lot more open and airy. The back seats are really exciting though. Let's go take a look.
And I love how the interior is not just black.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
It's kind of, like you said, black headliner, but the seats and everything are kind of like a charcoal cream color.
The seats aren't exactly black, which is really nice. They are a little bit more charcoal, like Connor said. And the white isn't a stark white. It's definitely a little bit more creamy, which I do like. The headrests back here, oh my goodness, you guys.
These are classy.
Yes, they're nice. So a wing out headrest, you can adjust them, of course. A little different than the headrest we saw up here. I guess we didn't really show them that much, but they are a mesh style, which means you can kind of blow wind into the driver's ear or whatever.
You could.
You can whisper to them. You really annoy them. But again, a cool design. The backs of the seats can actually be utilized as a hanger, so for jackets or bags, that kind of thing. You do have USB-Cs built into the backs of the seats as well, and some storage pockets. I like how this car's not boring. Again, you guys, it's minimalistic, but not too minimalistic where it feels like you're in an empty box. This car's fun. Cup holders back here for your rear passengers, and then check this out. So we have a little storage space here and a flat space too if you ever need it. This comes out, so you can extend it a little bit. You can also, sorry, I'm new here. You can tuck it in. So push that in and you have a hidden center storage, and it's a very, very deep, so you keep the good snacks over there. Close that back up. Up at the top we have some ceiling mounted air vents, which are very airplane-like if you ask me, and then you have your climate control panel here. So it's tri-zone climate, meaning one for the driver, one for the passenger, and then the rear climate. You can adjust the fan speed, fan direction, and the actual temperature itself, so really customize it to how your rear passengers like it best. Or you can lock them out of it if you have younger kids and you're worried about them turning the heat on in the summer. Don't worry, you can set it up there and everything's fine. Now these seats over here, do you want to show the power controls, Connor?
Yeah, so there, I mean, how often do you see power controlled seats in the rear?
Not often.
No. And my favorite part is you can just hit the button and here they come.
Here they go.
Here they go. Definitely not the quickest, but
it's powered.
You don't have to do it yourself.
And that's what matters.
All you have to do is hit the button and then you can get in the car while your kids get themselves in.
Exactly, and see how that makes getting into the third row a lot easier, or it would make it a lot easier if the third row is up. Pardon my reach, but I'm gonna go knock up the left.
And I like how these window switches, it's not just a traditional window switch. I mean, to say it's a wide window switch is kind of boring to say, but
it's different.
I like the design. It's a different design.
Hey, and while you're at the door, those seats are heated and ventilated too.
I was just looking at that.
There you go. The positioning of the buttons is going to remain the same for the rear passengers, which again, cohesive with the design we saw up front. And we have integrated sunshades into the window. Nice and easy. It's always hard. Oh, you did it on the first try. It takes me like 3 times usually on camera. So these seats still have plastic on them, but I'm going to peel it off a little bit. Come take a look back here. So again, same design, you get the little bit of white, and then your main center of the seat will be that nice dark finish. I'm gonna hop in. And the seats, one thing I love about the back seat of the EV9 is they didn't try to cram 3 into here. It's 2 seats, and they're comfy. You get the deluxe headrest as well too. Not as deluxe as the second row, but still nice leatherettes. They're comfy, and the seats are very wide. So although I'm in, I guess, the worst seat of the house for this vehicle, I'm still comfy, and I can even recline them a little bit further. There's these buttons on the sides that actually allow the seats to get knocked back or pulled forward. So let's do it to my seat. We'll recline it back a little bit, and the seat's moving, which is very, very nice. We have air vents up here as well too, and 2 separate ones, so we can change our preferred climate. Sorry, just wanted to peel that, but we got our lights back here. They're all LEDs, USB-Cs, speakers, and then cup holders with a little bit of storage. I like it back here. I don't know about you, Connor, but I think this is a very, very comfortable vehicle.
I'm loving the whole interior of this.
Yeah, it's really nice. Now, there's a couple more technical things I want to talk about this car when it comes to the powertrain and, sorry, I keep forgetting that.
So, someone asked if there's a manual way. There is a little red
tether
strap there at the back, and you can just pull on that and it will
lift it, yeah. So a couple things I want to talk about this car mechanically. So it has 5,000 pounds of towing capacity and it's all-wheel drive long-range variant. So I think that's very impressive. Now obviously towing with this vehicle will drastically affect its range, but it's really nice to know that we do have that capability. If you are towing, we also have a self-levelizing rear suspension, which will help of course with your load to make sure, you got the right level. So we got that in this vehicle as well too. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a couple things that are specific to the GT line trim that you're not going to get on the trim levels below it. So that's going to be things like your wheels, the blacked out elements, also your illuminated Kia emblem, the heads up display, and the GT line seats. So a couple of things that definitely take the EV9 experience to be a bit more premium. There's a lot more changes as well too. We definitely have to do a GT line versus premium package head-to-head video, but we're waiting on getting both vehicles at the same time. I kind of want to see the comments and see if there's anything you guys would like to know about this vehicle specifically, because I think we covered the main specs and there's definitely a lot more when it comes to the actual head unit and just little things here and there, but that would be a 2-hour-long video if we really covered everything. So, shall we grab the iPad and answer some questions, Connor?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll take the camera if you want to get that.
There was one question right off the bat about the range. I believe it was 450 kilometers on this model?
435.
435.
Yes. It's 451, I believe, for the premium package. I just saw Happy Canuck asked what's the tow rating on that EV. It's 50,000, oh my goodness, 5,000 pounds. All right, 50,000 pounds of towing capacity.
Whoa,
whoa,
semi-truck.
For 1 kilometer. Okay. Oh boy. What is the waiting time for ordering a GT line? So we've actually been receiving some. This one actually arrived and was available. I think it's still currently available, which is crazy. We did have an appointment on it earlier today. I don't think they purchased it, which is shocking. But yes, priced at $78.95 Canadian. It does qualify for the $5,000 federal rebate, the ISA rebate. And for anywhere in Ontario, Canada, we can be your local dealer. We can help you out. Contact us. Yeah, we are a real dealership. All right, question for Connor. What kind of music do you like? Because Gabby said the music you like is whack.
What? When did you say that?
I never said that.
I listen to anything. On my lunch, I was listening to Sean Paul. There was Central C in there. What's it? Who sings Broadway Girls? Is that Morgan Wallen?
Yes.
He's in that, yeah. It ranges.
Yeah.
Kind of odd question.
Does it have a heat pump? It does. So yes, you have a heat pump, you have a battery management system. You also have battery preconditioning in this vehicle, and it is manual. So in the past, you actually had to put a route to a DC fast charger for the preconditioning to actually implement itself. On this vehicle, you can go to the EV menus and turn on your battery preconditioning in advance. So that way, if you're, I don't know, charging somewhere where it may not be on the navigation or you don't want to use the navigation quite simply, you can turn it on whenever suits you best. So pretty cool. I really like how they're listening to, obviously, buyers and people that are just interested.
Yeah.
I've noticed recently, maybe it's just from them listening to the Kia Hyundai channel, I don't know, but we've been seeing a lot more buttons and dials. There was a time where I was terrified that all of our cars were going to become screens, like Tesla.
Yeah.
Guys, I will say, I'm not a Tesla hater. I do like them. I just really think everything's a little bit overly complicated.
You know, even open the glove box.
Yeah.
Some of them, you got to go through the screen.
Which I think it should just be
crazy.
simple. It should be simple. It's a lot. Let's see, what's the wheel size specs and would you recommend sizing down for winter tires? So for the winter tire question, Connor is your guy.
Yes, we typically do size down at least an inch. We probably even go to 19s on the 21-inch models. We'd have to double check, fitment on the brake calipers. Yep. But we typically do go down at least an inch. Yeah.
And then, the rest of the question, what was the wheel size and specs? So the alloy itself is a 21-inch alloy. I don't have the tire off the top of my head.
I mean, we can quickly jump out and just look at it. Yeah, so it's a 21-inch, and it's a 285/45/21, so definitely not a cheap tire to buy.
It's a big tire.
It also being an EV tire doesn't also make it better.
They are acoustic tires as well, too. So essentially there's like a foam filling throughout it. Makes this vehicle a very quiet ride, but not exactly the cheapest tire, that's for sure. NACS port on this one, no. So the North American Charging Standard port has not yet been implemented into our lineup. Now, there is talk about it coming very shortly. Don't know when exactly they will switch to that, but we will eventually have access to Tesla's charging network, so we can utilize an adapter to do so, and that will be a very good time for us. What is the MSRP? It is $78,995 Canadian plus the $5,000 federal rebate. What's the best all-season tire?
Now, we looking for a 3-season or an actual all-season tire? Because then you'd be looking at an all-weather tire.
Yeah.
Which is different than an all-season tire.
You sound so parts department right now.
Yeah. I miss the dog. Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do too.
Will you consider getting a Kia tattoo?
No.
Was not on my radar. No.
Actual all-season. The all-season tires that I had for my car were the Continental Pro Contacts, and I really liked them. They were great in the rain. Good grip. I'd recommend those. Yeah.
I have the Kumo tire that came on my car. I think it's great. Never let me down.
Someone asked if the sound system, I think it said bumped.
If it's bumping?
Yeah.
The sound system's good on this car.
All our cars have great sound systems.
Yeah, for the premium sound systems,
Yeah.
Bose is usually the preference for people that are big into music or big into sound, I should say. I'll say I'm not exactly a professional when it comes in the sound department. I just like my music loud.
Yeah.
And as long as it doesn't sound like it's staticky, I'm happy. So this is fabulous for me.
Yeah.
This is like the best thing ever. Guys, for reference, I drive a Kia Forte and it does not have a premium sound system. So this is luxury for me. Very luxury.
Oh, someone said overpriced. You know what? I probably would have agreed with you about 25 minutes ago before the video started. After actually looking through all the features, I'd say it's worth it. Definitely.
I will say a vehicle like this makes absolutely no sense for someone like us.
No, and that's what I was thinking. You know, Gabi, we don't have children.
Yeah.
You know, we don't. It wouldn't make any sense for us.
I also don't have somewhere to plug in an EV. So
No.
an EV, I would have to exclusively charge at public charging stations, and that's just not worth it for me.
No.
However, if you have a family, if you got money too, I will say this isn't a cheap car, so you would have to have the budget for it for sure. This is a fabulous option for a 3-row SUV,
Absolutely.
electric SUV, and even just an SUV period.
Yeah.
It is fabulous. And I will say the drive of this car, obviously we can't drive it in a live stream, but this is such a pleasure to drive. Seriously, so much fun. You would never think a 5,000 kilogram
No, yeah.
SUV would be fun, but the torque, the steering, the feel of the car, the way the seats feel, the way the media is, everything combined together just makes such an amazing experience. And people always say EVs are boring. It's like driving a microwave. This is a nice microwave, okay? If you guys are going to say that.
I love driving EV cars.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's great.
Doubt asked, does charging take super long? So this car can actually charge from 10 to 80% in 24 minutes on a 350 kilowatt charger. So it does not take super long unless you're using the level 1 charger that comes with the car.
$5,000 rebate still? Yes, sir.
Yep.
What is it about insurance? I guess insurance would all be based off of
your
your driving, your company.
Yeah. Insurance can be a little bit more expensive on EVs. It's very dependent on, again, where you live, your driving history, and what EV you're getting. Obviously, if you're looking at something like the Kia EV9 GT, which is 575 horsepower, that might not be the same as an all-wheel drive 3-row, that kind of thing. But, okay. Somebody asked if we have any Nero PHEVs in stock. We do not at this point. Somebody said better ambience than Tesla cars. Absolutely. And that's, again, another thing, like, this may not add to the actual driving feel of the car, but definitely the overall experience feel. It's nice to have a car where you're happy with the interior, where, you know, it feels like your money went somewhere. I will say, again, I feel like I'm bringing up Tesla so much. It's so blank in those cars. It feels soulless. It feels like you don't have that emotional connection to your vehicle at all, if that makes sense. It's just an appliance at that point.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I like to feel a little something more with my cars.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, there's a lot of comments.
I had a question that I was going to say, but I forgot.
Can't find it?
No, I forgot what I was going to say now.
The screen that we're filming on is completely black too, so like it's so. Do you see that? It's so dark.
At first, I thought you had one of those privacy foam covers.
No.
Greetings from the Philippines. Wow.
Hi.
That's great.
Hi, Sierra. There's a question earlier from Abe. If it's from Abe, we're not answering it. No offense, Abe. Well, it keeps glitching.
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay. Did you really keep the AC turned on and slept the whole night without losing on the car's range? So the range did go down a bit, obviously. I think the actual battery percentage had only gone down, I think, 6 or 7%. So I arrived at the campsite with about 70, I want to say 73 or 74, and I think I was at like 68.
That's pretty good.
That was amazing.
That's amazing,
And I
yeah.
didn't, because my girlfriend, she slept in her tent, and it was so hot, and it was rainy the next day. So it was like that muggy, disgusting, humid hot. I was chilling in the EV9, AC on. I could plug my phone in. It was fabulous. I think I have video clips. I never ended up making an actual YouTube video out of it because I looked disheveled. But it was a really good experience, and I think I have to do it again because I want you guys to see that.
Maintenance schedule. The EV maintenance schedule is a little bit different. Essentially, it's a lot of checkovers. Your first service, we basically just rotate the tire and check over everything. Your second service is just same thing, rotate tires, and while we have the tires off, we'd service the brakes.
Yep.
And it would pretty much repeat up until, I forget the kilometers, and then we'd start looking into fluid flushes. I don't have the maintenance schedule memorized by heart, unfortunately, but it's a lot simple. Or it's more simplified than maintaining a gas car.
Yeah, you don't have traditional oil changes or anything like
No.
that, right? I will say brakes are one of the most commonly asked questions on EVs
Yeah.
because if you're unfamiliar with the regenerative braking, it's not actually utilizing your brakes, your mechanical brakes that you're used to doing on your gas car, right? So essentially, you can go a pretty long time without actually using your brakes at all.
Oh yeah.
But brakes are one of those mechanisms that if you're not using them, you're losing them.
Yeah.
They can rust, they can rot away.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, there's actually a brake disc cleaning mode on this car. Essentially, just press the auto hold button for about 5 seconds and it'll enter that. And that's going to allow you to actually utilize your mechanical brakes to make sure you're getting that lot rot off the car, right? So it's nice that we have that there.
I like this one. Connor looks very good, man. He's wearing his uniform.
Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't worn my Kia shirt in I think 2 years. If you watched my early YouTube videos, every single day it was black jeans and a Kia shirt. I looked like I worked here, that was for sure.
Black jeans and a black Kia shirt.
Yeah. Is it time to bring it back? It might be. Okay, I can't even tell how long. We're at 37 minutes. Okay.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
That's probably it for today's video, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, this is Friday, so tomorrow we don't have a live stream, but I will have a video going up, so stay tuned for that. It's a good one. It's actually our latest Sorento change. So the Sorento was redesigned last year, and we already have a change. What could it be? Find out in tomorrow's video. Haven't decided what time I'll post it, but it will be posted. All right, I will say goodbye again. I can't see what anyone's saying, but hopefully it's
There was a
bye.
quick question that I just wanted to, the standard 3-year, after those 3 years, how much it is per month for Kia Connect?
For Kia Connect, it's a tiered system, so you can get the premium, you can get the basic, and I think there's a middle one as well too. I don't know the price off the top of my head, but I believe it can be found on Kia Canada's website or Kia Connect's website. I will try to figure that out and maybe talk about it for Monday's live stream, so if you can hang in till then, or I'll put it in the comments actually. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thank you so much for watching. Bye. I can't